Hey guys, it's Charlene. Today I'm going to share some really awesome tips and tricks with you today on your layered die cut cards. This is the card we're going to make. I'm using some products from the brand new release from Altenew. It's the Orange Blossom die set. This die set is so fun and summery and citrusy. I absolutely love it. So I'm starting out by cutting out everything from white. You can see on the Altenew packaging, it outlines everything you need, all the different layers. I love how they do that. It makes it so easy to put everything together. I've lined up everything to make the coloring really easy. You can see I'm coming in here with some Pearfection from the Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated ink line, and I'm coloring the lighter green color that I want for my leaves. And now I'm going to come in here with Field, and I'm going to color the leaves that I want to be the darker portion. So these are going to layer so that half of the leaf is light colored and half of the leaf is dark colored. Now you'll notice I have everything on a sticky mat and I'm using paper pouncers. This makes the process so easy. I can get everything colored quickly and easily and not make a mess. All I have to do is wipe off my sticky mat when I'm done. It makes the whole process really easy. So now you saw that I started with white cardstock, and I like to do that because I don't have every color under the rainbow of colored cardstock, but I do have a lot of ink colors, and a lot of my ink colors come already in these groupings of 3. So you can see now I have the oranges down on the sticky mat, and these are also 3 layers, and I'm going to use Melon, Cantaloupe, and Sherbet for the 3 colors. So I don't have to have 3 different shades of orange, which is pretty unlikely for me to have because I don't keep a lot of cardstock around. I do love the Concord 9th colored cardstocks, but this makes the process so easy because I can pick exactly the color that I want from my ink lines. I could combine ink lines if I don't have exactly the right colors from one. It just works really, really well. So once I get all of that color down on there, all I have to do is let this dry so that way it's easier to put together. And that's it for the layers. Now I did make several of the oranges and I also made several of the leaves. So keep that in mind when you're working with these kind of layered die cut cards. It's good to cut out and color a bunch of the die cuts at one time because then you're not limited. You could put as many or as few on your card when you're putting everything together that you want. Any extras, no big deal. You stick them in the back of your stamp sleeve, or you can make more than one card. So now I've got my branch here. I'm coloring this in Cappuccino, and it's going to be this nice light grayish brown. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to do the flower centers, and those I'm going to color in Citrine. And you'll also see I missed the little pieces that go on the bases of the little white blossom flowers. And so I'm coming back in and I am coloring those with some Field as well. Everything that I'm doing, you could do with blending brushes. If you don't have Pouncers, you don't have to have Pouncers to do this. You could do the exact same technique with blending brushes. I just find that the Pouncers make the process a whole lot easier. So now everything has dried. I'm going to put it all together, and I keep my little die set from Altenew, the packaging, over to the left hand side of me so that way I can reference it and make sure I am layering everything up correctly. It makes it so easy. And once I get my leaves together, then I can come in here and put the oranges together. This is probably my favorite part just because I love seeing everything come together. So a lot of you know I don't do a lot of cards with small die cut pieces. I have started doing more of them, and part of it is because I have found this technique of lining everything up and using the Pouncers. It just makes the process so much easier, and I definitely recommend giving it a try. When you're working with really tiny pieces like the top of this orange here, you can see once I put the glue on, I tapped it off onto a tissue. That's going to help keep down on any kind of extra glue smushing out from the sides. So give that a try as well. I do recommend when you're putting together tiny pieces like these little blossoms to use a jewel picker. You can use the wax end of the tip to pick up the smaller die cut pieces and then apply them down where you want them glued. It makes the process a lot easier, especially if your fingers don't tend to do what you want them to do, which is like mine. I tend to drop or mess up pieces all of the time. So I arranged everything exactly how I'm going to want it on my card. I did that off camera. And now you see I've come here with a piece of press and seal. This makes the process of getting everything exactly how you want it on your card so much easier. You just arrange it all, then you come in with the press and seal and make sure you get everything nice and stuck down on there. And then you can pick everything back up. Now I'm not applying it to my card yet because I'm going to do some fun things for the background, but I did while I had all of these tiny little die cut pieces out on my desk. I wanted to go ahead and get them arranged and on that press and seal so that I could move it off to the side. If you're ever looking to add some interest to your background, using an embossing folder can add a lot. So this is the new Moroccan tile embossing folder, and all I'm doing is I'm taking my ink here and I am smearing the ink over the side of the embossing folder where the images are debossed. So they're pressed down into this side of the embossing folder. Once I had all of my ink kind of swooshed on there with the ink pad, I then brought in a paper pouncer and just lightly tapped all over because that's going to smooth and blend everything out. So that way I don't get any harsh lines or harsh spots. If you don't have a pouncer, you also could use a brayer to smooth out the ink. That works as well. So I ran it through my die cutting machine and now you're going to see I'm going to get this beautiful soft blue, but then I have the white raised images. I love how that looks. For my sentiment, I'm going to be using the new Encouraging Sentiments hot foil plate set as well as the die set. So I set all of my hot foil plates down there. I let them heat up and then I used a piece of gold foil, laid it on there, and then put down my cardstock on top of that. And you just want to make sure that the shiny side of the foil is touching your plates, or you can think about it that the ugly side of the foil is touching your paper, whichever works well for you. And then you can just add your shim and the top plate and run it through your die cutting machine. I know there's a lot of people that don't like to foil, so certainly you could use any kind of sentiment that you want, but I think this set is so pretty. In fact, what I really like about this set is that the coordinating die set includes regular dies. So it has scripted words that you can cut out, but then it also has the outlines to cut out the foiled sentiments. I wanted to point out here I made a little bit of a mistake. You can see that love and the you infinitely, the plates have to get lined up in order for you to be able to die cut out that outline. Now I can put my whole card together. You can see I trimmed down the embossed piece, so I have a little bit of a white border going all the way around, and I did put some craft foam underneath there to pop it up. You also could use foam tape. And for this next step, this is where the magic happens. This makes the whole process so much easier. So you can see I taped down the card base to my glass mat because I don't want my card to move. And now I have laid down my die cut pieces that I had previously put on the press and seal. I laid those on top of the card, got it all positioned exactly how I wanted it. And then I pressed down the press and seal, the extra press and seal on the left-hand side. And the reason I did that was to create a hinge. Having a hinge is going to make it so that you can glue down each of the layers, pull the press and seal back up and still be able to add more glue, put it back down, and repeat the process over and over again without shifting or moving that press and seal, and it'll all go back down exactly where it needs to. So let me show you. I've put glue down on some of the leaves, whatever's on the bottom of the stacked dies. I put it on there. Now I'm pressing everything down. I'm going to put an acrylic block down to weight this down a little bit. And then I gave it just a little bit of time to dry, and I peeled the press and seal back up. And you can see those bottom items are now glued to the front of my card. So I repeat the process here. I add glue along all of the next layer of items. I press it back down again, and then I put the acrylic block on there to weight it all down. I let it dry for a little bit, and now you can see here I slowly peel this press and seal back up. And if there's any items that don't want to stick down, I just use my finger to push them down so that they'll stay on the card. And everything else, though, is going to pull back up. So on this layer, I've added the branch as well as some more leaves. And once I get the press and seal pulled all the way back up, I can repeat the process again for the next layer. Now, if you want to add some extra dimension while you're doing this, you could also add foam squares to certain things to pop them up even more. Because I have so many layers going on here with all of the leaves and flowers and the oranges and everything, I did not use any foam squares on this, but you absolutely could use them to create even more dimension on your card. So I went back in and did the third layer, gluing everything down. And now I have everything onto my card, so I can go ahead and trim off any little pieces I want to. I just trimmed off the stick. I kind of liked having the leaves hang off everywhere else. And now I'm popping up that beautifully gold foiled sentiment on the front here with some foam tape, and that is going to finish off the card. All right, guys, I hope you picked up some tips and tricks today. Please be sure to like and subscribe, as well as hit that notification bell so that way I can bring you more crafty content in the future. Until next time, happy crafting.